Welcome back to another edition of the Roots of Rising podcast. As a reminder, this is a platform that's created for women to hear their stories, their experiences, to share with other women, for them to learn, grow, and find their true purpose. Today, I have another special guest with me, Kaitlyn Jerard, who's going to walk us through her journey, currently a most recent college graduate. So, Kaitlyn, welcome to the show, and please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm Kaitlyn Jerard. I did just graduate from University of South Florida in Tampa just about a little over 2 months ago. Right now, I'm in that post-grad kind of I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I've been learning to know that's okay. And I have a great support system that have been it's okay to not know because you have the rest of your life to work and you have your degree, go do what you want to now, take some time to yourself, and when the time's right, then go into the workforce. So I'm really trying to take advantage of that. And I do have my lease in Florida until the end of July. So I chose to graduate a semester early because I was like, why not? I was going to stay here regardless, even if I was going to push back, take more classes. But then I was like, you know what? I can just find some part-time work, enjoy living in Florida, decide, do I want to stay? Do I want to go back home? But as of now, I've really just been enjoying life and working a couple different part-time jobs, and I'm going to have some upcoming traveling too.
That's awesome. So did you know when you were in high school or when you were, going into college, do you always have this as an aspiration to travel at the end after you graduated, or how did you come up with this idea?
Definitely not. I mean, I was more exposed to it once I came down to school in Florida. I mean, I came here not knowing anybody, and I thought that was a great way to learn and meet a bunch of different people. And then I met my best friend through my sorority, and she's like, I want to study abroad. I'm planning on going in the summer. And my problem is that I love my summers at home. Everyone goes home, we all have a great time. So I was very iffy on it. I was like, I don't think I want to do summer. I'd rather do a full semester and not miss out on my friends at home. But then I realized for my business degree, they had a business program out there in the summer of 6 weeks. And I was like, okay, it could be the best of both worlds. I would go for half the summer and still get to go home and do all the fun stuff with my friends. So I told her, I was like, I'll go for half. She went for the full summer. And we definitely had a great time. We studied abroad in Florence, Italy, and traveled almost every weekend to new countries. And that really sparked something in me that I was like, wow, I need to go back. I need to go see as much as I can while I can, because I know once I start working, it might be a little bit harder to take that time.
How did you know you wanted to study abroad? I guess someone that's maybe thinking about studying abroad or doesn't really necessarily know what that's like, or it just seems like a really overwhelming idea to them. Describe to us what that felt like to you initially, why you wanted to do it, and then going through it, were there points that it was overwhelming, or did you feel comfortable with it the whole time?
So my school is very big on study abroad. They really push it on to the students because there's so many different programs and it just fits very well into the academics. You can get credits perfectly lined up for school. So that was a big factor. And actually, my freshman year, I had I was a revolving dorm, so I had 3 different roommates to start, and by the time second semester came around, I had 3 new roommates, and random, all random, but it just worked out the way it was supposed to work out because I became so close with these girls, and all 3 of them have been abroad. So we would have conversations, almost every night of them telling me about their experience, and they were actually one of my biggest influences to be like, "You know what? I should go." And I was the first in my family to go to Europe, and it was a little nerve-wracking at first, thinking about it, and I'm like, "I really don't know, what I'm doing. I don't know what to expect." But then, once I figured everything out financially and my best friend was going, I felt a lot better and we got on the same flight. So just knowing like I had her really helped the like struggle of I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I'm out there, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
that I was gonna have her. And you know what's actually funny is one of my friends from University of Missouri, she was studying abroad the exact same time in the exact same
Mm.
place. So I had like two girls that I for sure knew if I needed anything, like
Yeah.
I had them. But there were a couple moments that I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is bad." So it was actually the first maybe couple days I was there. The first day I got there, my phone service did not work and I
Mm.
was freaking out and I couldn't call anyone or figure out where my apartment was. So when I
Oh,
got
wow.
dropped off, I really just had to like read the street names and figure it out myself, which I did. And then there was another moment where I left my key inside my apartment and was like locked out of my apartment for a little bit until my roommates came.
Wow.
And one other struggle too was that I was put into a random apartment with 7 girls.
My
Like,
gosh.
I had not like, I've never met them, and I was just like, "This is gonna be something." Like, in the bathroom, so small, so small. But you know what? I made it work.
So what would you tell someone, like, there's something that, things that you learned going abroad that maybe someone that wouldn't know about it, that if you don't go abroad, you would miss out on? Is it just overall just having different experiences and forcing yourself to navigate through uncomfortable? Or do you think that, there's other things you learn when you go outside of the country to experience different cultures? So what would you tell someone that you learned about going abroad?
I mean, honestly, it just made me learn a lot of different things from different cultures, experiences, etc. But also it made me just like grateful for a lot of different small things in the United States. For example, having a dryer here. There was
Mm,
times where I would wash my clothes and I'd have to wait like 4 days, but then again, we were leaving again for the weekend. So it was just like really it's just like something small, but something you don't think about and like that you
mhm.
should be grateful for. So I definitely gained like a lot of gratitude through going abroad and just seeing how not everyone lives the same way we do in America. And I think that was like one of the greatest things that I was able to learn.
Did you change anything when you came back, the way you do anything here in the US from what you learned going abroad? Do anything different now?
I would say they are in Italy for sure. They're very much on their own pace. And here we're very go, go, go.
Mhm,
So I do struggle with that when I am here, I am constantly like doing something, but that is how I like to live my life, like
mhm.
operate like that. If you're at a dinner in Italy, you're gonna be sitting there for 3 hours. Like it's just that's just their culture and everyone just like enjoying like being outside and hanging out. And I think it's just I wanna like be able to like relax and not be on the go so much, like how they are over there.
How do you think the United States got to be so fast-paced, but yet other countries in Europe still kind of take time, enjoy each other's company, not move slowly, but they're just at a slower pace and appreciate more? How do you think we got to this point?
I feel like we just might like compare ourselves to others and we want to be the top person. We want to make the most money
Mm,
and like just comparison is the thief of joy though. So
mm.
I I don't really I don't really think like we should compare ourselves to other people, but also that's just how we are here and we wanna be, like, the top of the top. We wanna keep working, we wanna keep
Yep.
going, and that people work 80-hour weeks, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I love that quote. Thief of joy is comparison. And it goes along too, about this podcast about everyone has a different path and you don't have to have the same path because you're a certain gender or a certain culture or a certain religion. Like there's different paths and subcategories within each person. So the moral of the story is you're not going to be able to compare because everyone's so different. Not even just your environment where you came from, but also kind of how you were built and what motivates you. So I think that's a great, not just from country to country comparison we can make, but also talking about us as, individual women. Like it's going to be different flavors for every single one of us. And that's okay. And we shouldn't compare. We should listen, right? Embrace and support one another versus compare, judge, and put other people down to make ourselves feel better about who we are. So I think that country analogy works pretty closely to the human analogy too.
Yeah, I agree.
So when you were going through college, what was your major in?
So when I first got to college, I wanted to be like a dietitian. So I was health science major. And I learned to realize that after my first semester, I did not like biolab, chem lab, and they pushed it on me. Like I didn't get to
Mm,
change it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take general courses second semester and figure out what I want to do. And so I did that. Was much happier. And then I come from like a business background with my mom. So I decided I was like, let me just do business management. It's very broad. You can do so much with it. So I graduated with business management as my major.
awesome. And then do you have any internships along the way?
I did like management internship at a restaurant downtown Tampa. I did serve there, but their restaurant is connected to like three different places. So it was a lot. And then I learned, I was like, I don't think this is for me. But that's, like, why you go through life and
Yeah,
experience things because you learn what you like and you learn what you don't like.
yeah. So are you still trying to figure out what you want to do, waiting for that right opportunity?
Yeah, I have been trying to work on my LinkedIn profile, and a lot of recruiters are reaching out, but also I know I'm not for sure looking for full-time until end of July, August, because I do have some upcoming traveling, and
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted some time to figure out what I wanna do. But I know, like, what's meant for me will come to me.
It's a good attitude to have. So when you're traveling, where are you traveling to and, why do you get motivation from it? What does that, expose you to or what does that give you when you travel?
So I'm actually leaving today to go to London, Scotland, and Ireland with my best friend from school, which I studied abroad with. I think we're just on that mindset of like, let's just go because now's the time. I mean, you can go anytime, but like, I know that there's so many people, like adults that I talk to, and they're like, "Oh, I wish I would have done that when I was in my 20s. Oh, like like you're gonna have a great time. Like I wish I could go now, but I have to wait till I retire." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, you really like you could try to make like a week trip work if you want to, but I get it. I get it." So, we're going there for 10 days, and then at the beginning of April, I'm going to Punta Cana for like a fun trip with my boyfriend for his work. And then at the end of April, I'm actually leaving again for Europe, and I'm going to Spain, Italy, back to Italy, and then Greece.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a 3.5 week trip.
Wow.
And my cousin's coming with me for all of it, and then my boyfriend's gonna come for, like, a week, but I'm still trying to work on everything for that, so I'm looking forward to that, but that's why I can't look for full-time because I was like, "I want to go explore the world."
How do you pick the locations you're gonna travel to?
So for the London, Scotland, Ireland, my friend Nicole, she's been really wanting to go to Ireland, and we happened to just we found a, like, reasonably priced round trip ticket. So we're like, let's just do it and we'll figure out like hotels and everything from there. And then for the other trip, I've never been to Spain or Greece, and those are on my bucket list. And I really loved Italy and I want to reminisce and go back to the Florence. So I'm going to incorporate that. If we can, I do want to take a day trip up to Austria from Italy.
Mhm.
So it's really kind of just like, let's see what we can do. But I know I'll wanna go back to Europe eventually.
What do you think the difference is, for and I've met a lot of people within your generation that do wanna travel and they wanna experience different things before they start the full-time, job thing. Why do you think there's such a difference from your generation versus maybe the more experienced generation, 50s and 60s, where they wanna wait till they retire to actually travel and enjoy it? There's definitely a shift in prioritization of travel and work, not I would say work-life balance, but just this balance of enjoyment and pleasure versus, working hard until they feel like they almost like earned it or it's the reward at the end. What do you think the difference is of those generations, why that is?
I mean, honestly, it could be from how their parents raised them. Like, I know for, like, my parents, they were more pushed on, like, "Oh, you gotta, like, work, like, right after college," and, like, that kinda generation was more so like, "Alright, you finished school, like, time to work." Um, but I feel like, at least for my parents are extremely supportive of, like, "You should go now, like, while you can, like,
Mhm.
because we didn't do that, so you should
So
experience it." So I feel like that could be a reason why, and also, I don't know, I feel like some people my age are just like, "You only live once, you know what, you're gonna get the money back eventually," but experiences are so much more worth than
mhm.
how much money you have in your account.
Yeah, I think the just as a society, we've evolved, right? The parents that are 50s and 60s years old, they could have been maybe the first and to go to college, or maybe this your generation's their first to go to college. So, become more, not I'll say smarter, but they just have a higher level of education. You came from a long time ago. I mean, people were on farms. It was very basic in terms of technology, and we've just evolved over time as a society, now allowing all this access to information and college and opportunity. So it's not so much work, 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 save, save, save. We're at a point where your generation is able to, have the intellectual, the information, all the things you need at any point in time. And therefore, you're allowing yourself to experience things more immediately and throughout your life instead of having to wait until you get to that point where it's the reward. So it is a cool shift. And a lot of people I've interviewed have said they're traveling and they want to experience different things before they start working, and how they're trying to balance right off the bat career and the personal motivators that they want. So it's kind of a nice shift, and hopefully it sticks and it pays off for your generation.
Yeah.
So if you were going back to when you were in high school and maybe the beginning of college, again, this podcast is to help other females in that situation learn of what they need to do or the questions they should be asking themselves. If you were to, give some pieces of advice to that group of people that are transitioning from high school to college or even graduating college, what advice would you give them?
I would say going into college, it's definitely going to be a change, but I do see a lot of people after their first semester will be like, I don't know if I really like this school, because that happened to me as well. But my mom pushed me. She's like, you need to give it the full year because, second semester can be a lot different than first semester. So I think giving it the full year is worthwhile if you aren't sure if that school's right for you. Um, I also think, like, don't compare yourself with other people going to different colleges because some people are gonna have a different college experience, and that's okay. Like, I know my school isn't like an SEC school, but I still loved all the opportunity Tampa gave me. I was able to go to the beach and do things outside while other people might not be able to. So, I think you just need to make the most of it, and, like, what's meant for you will come to you, and just see, like, where it takes you, because I don't think like, you just need to give it the full year.
How did you know you went from Illinois to Florida, which is a significant, journey and travel, and not many people are willing to go out of state that far away, right? So, what would you say? when you're looking for a college, for questions people should be asking themselves of how to understand where the right fit is for them. And I get what you're saying, like once you're there, make the most of it and just learn from the experience. But how do you decide and what questions do you ask to make sure that college you're choosing is the right college for you?
I guess I would have a few things on your priority lists when you're, like, looking at different schools, because for me, that's what I did, and I just had to make sure, like, a couple things were checked off, and I applied to those schools only, and then once I actually went to go visit the schools, I felt like, where could I see myself, and, like, where could I see myself feeling like this could be home? And so there was a few schools that felt like that, but then I personally vacationed a lot in Florida with my mom growing up, and so I was like, I could see myself going to school in Florida, and I
Mhm.
also do have a few family friends, like, near me, and then my aunt actually, before I committed to go to USF, she's like, "Well, if you're gonna go, I actually have a work opportunity that's gonna be 30-minute drive from you." So I would live there. And so
Nice.
that also gave me like the peace of mind, like, well, if I get homesick, she can come pick me up. I can spend the weekend with her. And freshman year, there were a few weekends where I just hung out with her, and it was just what I needed because
Yeah.
yeah, it's a long way home, but also going out of state, you gotta look at the perspective of if you're by a big airport, it's only a 2.5-hour flight home. So
Mhm.
it's really not the end of the world.
And it's okay to be uncomfortable, right? When you get a little homesick, it's just unfamiliar and it's just creating different habits and that getting through those tougher times allows you to adapt to different situations in the future. So it's not always going to be where you're sitting at home comfortable, with all your surroundings for what you grew up with. If you want change, you're going to have to go outside your comfort zone and feel that. And that's okay. It's hard and you have to learn how to deal with it. But what were some of the things that you did when you were homesick, or even broader question, when you are uncomfortable or you want to go on a new adventure and it's something you haven't done, you're uncomfortable, you could be scared, anxious, all the things. What are some things or tools that you do to help yourself get through it?
So I would say when I was homesick, I tried to just surround myself with people and make plans with my friends. And then whenever I feel like I'm in like an uncomfortable situation or I'm like nervous for something, I make sure, like, I go to the gym because that really
Mm,
helps me, or I'll even go for a walk outside, listen to a podcast, it's typically sunny here almost every day,
yeah.
so here we can do that, and just getting some movement in just helps, like, my mind, like, relax a little bit and figure out, like, "Okay, I'm gonna be okay, it's just a new challenge, and I've been here, done that, like, I can get through it."
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of people when they have that feeling of anxiety or uncomfortable, they kind of stay inside, hone in. They may like go on their phone more often and as you know, the mind does crazy things and then you kind of just allow your mind to take over versus if you move, if you're outside, if you're exposing yourself to things that give you energy, the physical catches up with the brain and hopefully helps kind of overcome some of that. But your mind is really a strong will and it can do a lot of crazy things. So we have to do a lot to make sure that we continue to challenge it.
And one thing I would say that, like, also helps with overthinking or anxiety that I learned is if you're looking at, like, a big body of water, it
Mm,
will help you, like, realize, like, there's so much more to this world than just, like, this one thing that's going
oh,
on, so you will get through it, and just, like, it just puts you into that perspective that you're just, like, this small little thing on this entire planet. You will be okay. So I really
yeah.
like going out in nature and just looking at the ocean. It's really does calm you down.
I do the same thing. I always look at the ocean and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like you can't even see all the way where you can never see where it ends, right? And it's such a massive body of water and I always think to myself all the different like sea creatures and organisms that are in there, like that whole
Exactly.
ecosystem that exists. And that's just one part of the world, right? And so to your point, there's so much out there, and pull yourself back out. I always say, like, when you're in it and you're feeling anxious or you're feeling uncomfortable, it's really, really hard to pull yourself out. But you have to think bigger. I'm going to go back to my 5 rule that I've said on this podcast a few times is it may seem like the most significant thing at that point in time, but challenge yourself when you feel like that, what it's going to look like or your decision 5 minutes from now, 5 hours from now, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, and pull it back. And the decision probably won't seem as overwhelming if you put it in a bigger picture and a bigger perspective. So that's kind of the analogy of what you're talking about is look at an ocean and just thinking how big that is. Like you're just one small little human in this big world.
Yeah. No, I really like that 5 rule that you have.
I used it a lot as when I had younger kids. I would always like the decision between work and personal, like what I would do, and that would kind of be my checkpoint for myself. Makes you
I like
walk
that.
away from the
Yeah.
immediate moment, right? And that emotional attachment to it. So,
Yeah, I feel like I get emotional when I, like, make decisions too, and it's really hard because I feel like being a woman, we just have all these hormones that go through our body, and I'm just like, "I can't control it," like, I'm trying.
men have hormones too. They're just different hormones, right? So they just react differently in certain situations, and we
Yeah.
react differently in situations. And I guess that's why we're compatible, right? Because our hormones complement one another, I guess, in some
Yeah.
situations. But so as you finish your travel, so let's kind of go to July. You're done with your travel. Your rent for your apartment is up. What's next for you then?
So, as of now, I mean, plans change, but I'm planning on moving in with my aunt for I don't know how long, but she has like an open bedroom and who knows how much she's gonna have me pay her rent. But hopefully I get the family discount and I think that'll be definitely a new change, but I think it'll be good. I'm really close with her and during COVID she actually moved home and lived with us for a few months and that's like when her and I became really close
Good.
and it just only grew our relationship.
Good. So will you look for a job then too? Or are you going to continue to
Yeah.
travel?
I think I think I'm gonna look for a job. I am working a couple different part-time jobs. One of my brand ambassador jobs just gave me some more work to be like a sales rep, like part-time within like the Florida, Tampa territory. So I'm gonna start doing that and see how that goes because there's always room for growth there. So I guess I'm kind of just like playing it by ear, but also am going
Good.
to look for full-time.
Good. Well, best of luck to you. And to sum it up, I always ask at the end, what piece of advice would you give, just in general, any graduating college student beginning their journey to whatever they decide to do, travel, professional, what just kind of guardrails or pieces of advice would you give them?
I would say just don't let other people scare you as into, like, you should be working right now. If you wanna take time for yourself, take time for yourself. This is your life, and you can do whatever you want with it. And, people are going to judge as much as they want, but at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, that's all that
Yep,
matters.
that's a great piece of advice. I love it. So, Caitlin, have a great trip on your first adventure and then your future adventures to follow. And once again, this is to Rising. This is Christine Hummel on a podcast that creates a platform for women to share their stories, experiences, for other women to hear and experience and learn from them to grow. So, thanks, Caitlin. It
Thank
was a
you so
pleasure
much for
speaking to
having
you.
me.